What's up, Indiana? Welcome to Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The Indianapolis 500 is upon us. The Pacers take game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. And Indianapolis and the state of Indiana and the NFL loses a one-of-a-kind owner and human. Lots to talk about. Thanks for joining. Saddle up. Indy Sports Nation starts right now. And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I am your host, Big Mike. Be hanging out with you for the next hour-ish. If you're joining me live, thank you very much. If you're checking out the replay, thank you very much. Cannot thank you all enough. Man, we got a lot to talk about, as we always do. As I mentioned in the intro, the greatest spectacle in racing is upon us. Sunday, cannot wait for that. Pacers get game one of the Eastern Conference Finals, tip off at 8 o'clock tonight. Game two in New York. We're going to talk, obviously, about the Indy 500. So I want, for those of you who are tuning in live, and I'll repeat this as the show goes on, I want to hear... First and foremost, I want to hear your takes on the Pacers and maybe some keys to, in your opinion, for tonight. But Indy 500, even if you're not overly familiar with everybody, I would love to hear drivers that you're interested in, who you maybe want to see win or who you think will win. So interested to see that. If you're checking out on the replay, hit me up on the socials too, which I'll run by here in a minute. And we're also going to discuss probably the biggest story is rest in peace to Mr. Jim Irsay, the Colts owner. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But before we do all of that, we have to hear from our great sponsors, Planet Jerky. Jerky's on all other Planet, Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal, Wax Seals. You know the drill. We'll get these bills paid, dive in to the content on the other side. Your boy Big Mike here on Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also it promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Much appreciated. We're having a little bit of technical challenges here today. I do apologize for that. So hopefully, I've already got a few messages. It's hard to find us live at the moment. So hopefully, we'll get that figured out. But if not, it's all right too. You can always check me out on the replay. I do appreciate that so much. So let's get this out of the way. If you'd be so kind to follow us on the show page on X, it is at Indy Sports_IESR. Follow me. It's my personal page at the Chill Mike, where I get into a little bit of, madness, if you will. Not really, but maybe depends on who you ask. Also, I am on TikTok as well. So if that's more your vibe, at the chill.mike7, you can follow me there as well. Appreciate that. And please be sure to follow IE Sports Radio on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, comment Indy Sports Nation. That helps us out very much. So cannot thank you enough for that. So let's move on. Let's dive into some content here. Most of you have probably heard at this point, but for those of you who haven't, Rest in peace, Mr. Jim Irsay. The Colts owner passed away on Wednesday. He was only 65 years old. That is just too young for anybody, in my opinion. But Colts put out on their on their social, and I'm gonna paraphrase here slightly. I'm not gonna read all this, but we were devastated to announce our beloved owner and CEO Jim Irsay passed away peacefully in his sleep this afternoon. Jim's dedication and passion for the Indianapolis Colts, in addition to his generosity, commitment to the community, and most importantly, his love for his family, were unsurpassed. Deepest sympathies go to his daughters, Carly, Casey, Kaylin, and his entire family. So, and there was more to it, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. He had been on the West Coast for quite a while doing some physical rehab on his surgery on his right leg. He also had some back issues. It's well documented. So his physical health was not the best, but it felt like, maybe he was getting a little better. I don't know. And look, I will say this. I mean, I know people out of market, you've seen him on TV, and he was never like the best public speaking guy. He just wasn't, which I don't care about that. If you're a fan of your team, and if your owner doesn't speak well in public, I don't care. You just hope you're making the right decisions behind the scenes, right? And, he obviously got some right. I mean, since he took over, he did make 2 Super Bowl appearances and won. Granted, most wish it, probably should have been more, but it wasn't. It is what it is. But they're competitive year in and year out. Obviously during the Peyton era, and then even with luck, they're competitive. So, one thing I'll say about it, and look, we could do a whole hour, probably longer, just on Jim Irsay. And I think couple things I want to, mention myself, I think is the dude, like he battled some demons. He did. I mean, this whole kicking the stigma thing about mental health was, started with him, and then his daughter Kaylin was kind of the driver behind that. When we started getting this thing out in the community more and more, and you start seeing commercials on it with him in it, and Shaq Leonard back when he was with the Colts, and so on and so forth, and more people started coming out talking about their own mental health struggles, and it became okay to say I'm not okay, if you will, for the catchy slogan, I guess. He brought that to the forefront, and the league kind of adopted that and moved forward with this initiative to, it's okay, it's okay to not be okay. And he wasn't. He definitely had some battles. They're well documented. Tell me somebody who hasn't. We all have some type. Every one of us, some type of battle. May not be the same battle he had, but it's part of life. We all have our battles. But that's just was what it was, and it's sad. But what makes it even, I guess, try to phrase this the right way, but that's one thing. But his compassion for his players. I mean, seriously, go to social media right now. Well, don't go right now. Go after the show. Or if you're, or you can, what, if you're watching replay, pause the show. It's fine. But go and look at the former players, and just, you could see the emotion. I'm going to paraphrase here. T.Y. Hilton said, "Don't ask me if I'm okay, because I'm not." Vinatieri put a nice piece out. Ryan Kelly, who's now with the Vikings, put a really nice piece out. Reggie Wayne even said, "Man, this one hurts." And he loved his guys. He obviously loved his family. He loved the community. I mean, those of us in the indie community, we loved the trivia things he put on every week. It's just something simple he didn't need to do. He didn't need to do it, but he did. And these things were basically something simple like, hey, here's a Colts trivia question, and answer it, do the, retweet, repost, whatever. Got to do that with the correct answer. Deadline is whatever time of day it was, 5 p.m., 7 p.m., whatever. You get the point. Winner, of all the correct answers, winner chosen at random. will get $500 to their restaurant of choice and $500 donated, in their name to a charity of choice. Or sometimes it was $1,000. And he was doing it every week. So a few of my friends won. They actually won these things and won, gift cards to St. Elmo Steakhouse, for example. That's an expensive place, but even it's $1,000. It's a couple visits, And then the other $1,000 would go to like Humane Society, or something about mental health. Like he does like every week. Doesn't need to do that, but he did, and that's what he did. That's what his passion for, wanting to give back. This guy's like Colts worth like damn near $5 billion, and his wanting to give back and giving back, bringing his daughters into all this. By the way, his daughter's been part of this for a better part of like 13 years now. And each year it's kind of bringing them more and more involved in it. So in my opinion, they're going to be ready. Now, I hate how we got to this point. I don't want Jim to, pass away on us, obviously. I was hoping at some point he would retire whenever he wants. He can do whatever he wants. Let him do his music. He's very passionate about his music. We, us locally know that. He's got his band and what have you. Do a little consulting maybe, and then let the girls take over. So I was kind of the hope, but we didn't want to get there the way we got here. And it's sad because, he was very, very, for his quirks, his rough public speaking and his, arguably say his mistakes. We've all made them. Through all that, the good he did in my opinion, completely outweighs the bad. And, it's a tough one to swallow here. Fans are legit like crying at home, like when they got the news. And I was shocked. I was at a work event, this week and looked down. I was like, is this real? Start scrolling. I'm like, yeah, it's real. It's like, just really, really sad. But, and kudos to the teams of the NFL too. I can't name them all because I haven't looked at every single one, but numerous NFL teams, put posts out, sending prayers and, deepest thought, condolences, sympathies, all those words. So, I would just say, man, rest in peace, Mr. Irsay. And I think this franchise is going to be in good hands going forward. And I know he was one of a kind. He just was. He was just. It's probably the best way I can put it. But like I said, we could do stories. We could do stories all day. I could do. Hell, I mentioned I could do an hour show. Could probably do longer than that. So. Got some comments coming in, so we'll check out what we got. And I didn't go through my spiel, keeping PG. Yeah, Taryn checking in as always. SoCal Sports, Set Point. Good afternoon. Have an amazing show. Appreciate you. And looks like some of these technical difficulties, y'all. It's all if you're able to catch live, it's YouTube right now. Go to YouTube, check it out. Yeah, rest in peace, everlasting peace, sir. Yep. 65 is damn too young. Ralph checking in. Have a great show. Appreciate you. He'll be going on later. The Yenser Report, Pittsburgh. He was his last tweet he sent out was about Go Pacers. He always a very good job of just doing that, supporting everything in the community. Yeah, and I thought the Steelers were too. I think both teams did. I just haven't had a chance to go through and see all of it. I know that I saw the Chargers one, I saw the Ravens one, and I'm sure most of them did. Patience, incredible comeback. Yeah, we're going to talk about that after the first break. That was sick, and I've stated about Neesmith and his whole playoff series, I think, so far, and hopefully there's another series to go. We'll see. But I would argue he's one of the MVPs of the Pacers team so far. So we will, we'll see about that. But anyway, rest in peace, Mr. Irsay. And yeah, just sad to see. But moving on, next topic at hand here. Gotta give love to the ladies, the Indiana Fever. 3 games in, start 2-1 start. Not I know some were thinking it should be 3-0, and okay, maybe Our second game, it was a game against the Dream, and Fever makes this great comeback in the fourth, and just didn't quite happen. Caitlin had herself a night. 27 that night. Just didn't get a ton of help from some others. I mean, her and Boston are doing their thing, but it's kind of an off night for everybody else. And at the end of the game, you get it in Howard's hands, and when Caitlin and Ellie are kind of the hotter hands, if you will, it was a little bit of a scratcher. But you know what? Better to have that in game two as opposed to a playoff game two. So things happen. Not too worried about that. Get the win back last night in Atlanta. Some foul trouble. Kayla gets in some foul trouble. Leah gets in some foul trouble, but still able to get the win. And so I thought that was pretty good for them, being that, again, Sophie was big last night. Sophie Cunningham made her debut last night. She's been first 2 games sidelined with an injury. Oh, she was big coming off the bench. Bonner's she's not quite in stride yet. I expect that will change. I really do. I mean, again, I don't put a whole lot of stock. We have 44 games here. You're 3 in. I mean, it's fine. But it's quick stats I came across. Caitlin already at this point averaging 19 and 9. Great. Leah Boston, 15 points, 10 boards. Those are your averages so far early. Fever are actually so far, again, 3 games. I understand it's a small sample size. Top in the league defensively. Fever were next to last year. Now they're number 1. Again, 3 games. I get it. Offensive ranked 4th. Again, 3 games. I get it. Good test for them coming tomorrow, though. Real good test coming for them. Against the defending champion New York Liberty, 1 o'clock. Just to add to this crazy weekend. And I mean, it could be crazy in a good way. Crazy in an absolute good way. Carb day today. We'll talk a little bit about that here towards the last segment of the show. Obviously, you got the drivers parade tomorrow. Fever, Liberty, downtown. Indy 500 Sunday, and then Sunday night you have Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals here in Indy. So Indy is the place to be. If you're even half of a sports fan, there's no better place right now to be than Indianapolis, and I'll die on that hill. So, but that being said, we'll see how the Fever shake up tomorrow. I think it's going to be a pretty good test. I'm looking forward to that game quite a bit. Early game, and when I mean early, obviously 1, but early in the season. So, should be an entertaining game. Looking forward to it. So, with that, let's get to our first break. I want to talk some paces on the other side. Then obviously we got to get some IndyCar. So let's get a break in here. Big Mike here, Indy Sports Nation, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports. We'll be right back.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you once again so much for tuning in. What's probably on the replay because I'm seeing the technical changes here, and it's not streaming to the other platforms. So that's all right. We'll get it out there and check out the replay. It's much appreciate it. Oh, with that said, let's go. We got to talk Pacers, right? And oh man, I'm sticking with the blue here. I know they're going gold, whatnot, but that's all right. They're blue and gold. It's all good. And all I can say is, are you serious? I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was at a work function. I mentioned that earlier, and I left said work function. It was kind of whatever time it was, 10:30, 10:15, whatever, something like that. I don't really recall, but the fact of the matter is, Knicks were up 14-16 with like 5 minutes to go, and so I'm on my way back to my hotel room to call tonight. I texted with a few buddies, and it's like, all right, don't worry about it. Game 2, Knicks played pretty well. Hey, don't worry about it. Because at the end of the day, let's just be real. The whole idea is to get one game. Give yourself a chance to win the series. You need to get a game. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I got to get up early the next morning. So I tuned out. I think there was 4.5 to go, I believe. Oh, well, it is what it is. Fall asleep and wake up like I always do in the middle of the night. So this time wasn't in the middle of the night. It was like at 1 a.m. Looked out and just happened to check my phone to see what time it was. And I had 87 messages, like 5 missed calls. I'm like, what is going on? So I clicked real quick, and there's a ton of group chats and whatever. I just kind of keep scrolling. I was like, what is happening? I click on one, and it says, unbelievable, with the Reggie Miller, back from the 90s. I was like, no way the Pacers won that game. So sure enough, go to the Pacers page, and oh, word, they won the game. So yeah, I had to go back and kind of end up watching the last bit of it. And and first off, I gave a shout out to my boy Ricky K, who does New York State of Sports. I just played his drop, and I did a special Eastern Conference preview with him. So if you'd be so kind, go check that out. We've got that posted on our YouTube page. A lot of fun talking with Ricky about this series, and really good dude. And we both agreed rather that no lead in this series is going to be safe. We've seen what Brunson's done. Obviously, we've seen what Halliburton's done. But in that case, I don't think either one of us thought, okay, yeah, no, this lead's probably pretty safe, just the way the Knicks were playing. But then they just kind of I don't know if they were just kind of showing the crowd or what they were doing. But you can't do that against this Indiana Pacers team, and they've demonstrated that time and time and time again. Not just in the playoffs. They did this a ton I shouldn't say a ton, but a lot in the regular season. Seriously, watch the second half. Watch some of those games, especially like March and April, against some teams that really weren't ideal, but they just found ways to win. And I thought with them learning to win, because last year they didn't know. They were just happy-go-lucky to be there. This year, I felt like over the course of the second part of the regular season, they learned how to win. I mean, they have confidence in themselves going in these games where they're down, in this case, 14 with 2:40 to go. that they can do this. And they're just, it's pretty wild because you see a lot of teams just kind of mail it in. But we see Neesmith just go nuts with those threes. And again, I touched on that earlier. I think from a playoff perspective from Milwaukee, Cleveland, and so far, still a lot of hoops left, guys. Still a lot. Obviously, this series is far, far from over. I think he's my team MVP personally. And I put Miles right there too. And I know a lot will say Tyrese because of the clutch stuff, but he's not able to do those clutch things without people like Neesmith and even Turner who put him in those positions. And Tyrese would be the first to tell you that. I mean, Neesmith doesn't go unconscious from the 3-point range last night. There's no way that this happens. But when I back and rewatched it, though, I see Halliburton with the choke and sign. I was like, and even when I was watching the replay of it, I was like, oh, wait. Oh, dear God, man. I can only imagine how the narrative would have went had the Pacers lost that game in overtime. So I was like, dear, don't do that. And knowing that, of course, he thought it was a 3. It obviously wasn't. And, Nimby with a key shot there in overtime to what could have been a 4-point lead. He misses. Knicks score. It's a 6-point deal. And at that point, you don't know, but you just kind of felt like that was going to go in. At least I did. Just again by watching that on the replay, of course. And I think a lot of people thought that too. It's it's a head scratcher because again, you look at some of these stats. I mean, Neesmith with 30 because he went drunk from the 3-point line. Halliburton doing his thing, 31 and 11, and when he gets 31 and 11, then more times than not, the Pacers win. Doesn't matter who they're playing. I mentioned on the preview I did with Ricky, I thought, McConnell's always going to be that guy coming off the bench. I mean, he gets a little streaky at times, but he's scrappy and, a guy that can come off and give you, sometimes 4 or even 5 assists off the bench. Not so much in the assists, but he did drop 10 points in 14 minutes. Out of 4 rebounds too, which I thought was decent. But another key player I mentioned on our preview was Obi Toppin. Former Knick. I thought that I was kind of hoping he'd be the one to kind of step out. We'll see again. It was one game, but 20 minutes, 10 rebounds, which was big for the Pacers because this is a team that doesn't rebound the ball exceptionally well, and they were beaten on the boards against the Knicks. And going in tonight. Pacers may lose that battle again, but they got to keep it, in my eyes, they got to get a little closer than what they were. And I know some of those came at the end and, they were still out rebounded by, I believe it was 7 or 6. Double checking now. It was 7. Yeah. So I like to see that be more like 4. But you look at Brunson, what he puts up at, 43 spot, Towns puts up a 35 spot. And you had Bridges who played, almost the entire game, played pretty well. It was 16. Obi was 16. They got a little bit of production off the bench, especially with Robinson with his 8 rebounds. We discussed that on our preview as well. I thought actually the Knicks looked pretty good up until the last, 3 minutes. I'm sure my buddy Ricky may look at it differently. I don't know, but but hey, you had to get one game out of it, and you got it. So that's always a great thing. If you're the road team, you want to get. To me, it's always great to get game 1, because even if you don't win tonight, you're still going to have home court. You've won home court advantage at this point. Obviously, you got to do your part when you get back to Indy. But even if they go down tonight, you still come back going, "Hey, we're 1-1 going back home." No one's gonna be mad at that. Now, we'll see how the game goes. What we don't want to see is a repeat of. Just hear me out on this one. A repeat of Game 2 in Cleveland. What I mean, I know it's apples and oranges. I get it. But my point of it is this: Cleveland had guys hurt that game. They were out that game actually. For I know we all remember. But that effort for 3.5 quarters ish, the Pacers put out that night was awful. It was awful. And then obviously, we know what happened in the end with the. I'll just say it was a choke job by the Cavs. Tyrese did his thing, and then hits that crazy shot, that 3-2-3 to seal it. But that was a choke job by the Cavs, because the Cavs were out. They were out efforting the Pacers for most of that game. So I don't want to see that tonight from the Pacers. I want to see the Pacers come out and try to take advantage of an opportunity that's given you here. I expect from the Knicks standpoint, Josh Hart will probably be better, although he did have 13 boards. I would be surprised to see him get a few more buckets here, but we'll see. But the Pacers do have an opportunity here. But again, it's not the end-all be-all, right? But you can go up 2-0. And if you can get, if you can come out 2-0, man, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Knicks. And I don't know the Knicks, and this is no slight on the Knicks. I don't know if they can beat Pacers 4 out of 5 games. I just don't see that at all. Again, that's no slight. I've got reason to think, I don't know if a lot of teams could right now just because of how the Pacers have been playing. And I don't mean that just in the playoffs. I'm talking the most of the second half. Mind you, I've shared that stat many a times on the show, and it's been shut out everywhere. They were one of the best teams in the league. Last 50 games of the season, I think they were like 4th best record. So, but no, a couple keys to tonight. Again, you got to keep the rebounding closer. I think you got to try to set your pace. At this point, you're going games every other day now. There's not the long breaks in the middle. I think that's advantage Pacers. Can the Pacers just keep dictating that pace and get a little closer on the rebounds? Obviously, got to make baskets. That's a given. And try to stay out of foul trouble. We see that's part of what Jalen Brunson does. I mean, he's a great player. I'm not trying to diminish that. But we saw what he did in game 1, right? We saw some of those ways he's trying to initiate contact. And if you saw at the very end of the game, too, where he takes that 3 to try to tie it and literally takes like 2 steps and sticks his backside out towards Nembhard to see if he can get contact well after he shot the ball. I mean, that's just kind of what he does. You saw the other one online where he literally grabbed Neesmith by the arm and then lifted Neesmith's arm and then tried to do like a headbutt on his arm to see if he could draw contact. That's what he does. And it works a ton. It really, really does. It's annoying. I personally can't stand it. I don't think he needs to do it. But, he gets calls. Although it was funny to me why he was trying to do that, that 3 at the end and trying to get that contact when he would have had a better chance of going in for his own rebound and trying to get a put back in one. I'm glad he didn't. But my opinion, man, the Pacers need to do that to get the game tonight. And I still think this is going to be a fight because it's a rivalry. This thing dates back decades. And, and I'm not going to get overconfident about it at all as a Pacers fan. I will not, because we all saw the choke thing. Everybody went back to the 95, when Reggie did the thing, the 8 points, 9 seconds. And, oh, yeah, by the way, y'all, if y'all don't remember, Pacers did not win that series. That series went 7, and Knicks won in 7. So, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not put the cart before the horse here. A lot of hoops to be played, and New York's not going to go away because it's a rivalry, and I think when it rivalries, you just throw things out the door. When I say things, I mean stats. It's just things happen. So, but what a win! What a crazy win! 3rd one of the playoffs like that. It's just unbelievable. I've not seen anything like it that I can recall, and I've seen a lot of Pacers basketball over my years, and this is just nuts. So, good luck to the Pacers tonight. We'll get our final break in, and it's going to be Indy 500 talk the rest of the way. So appreciate you checking me out here, Big Mike, on Indy Sports Nation, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports. We'll be right back.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter, at any time. Be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of the show. Stay, quick reminder, you can give me, hit me up on the socials. At IndySports_IESR is the show page. At the Chill Mike is my page. And also TikTok is also my page at chill.mike7. Appreciate that so very much. With that being said, we got to talk some IndyCar, because, as you know, we're upon it. We are upon the greatest spectacle in racing. So once again, happy Carb Day to you. And for those of you who don't know what Carb Day is, it's an old term. It dates back to when the cars actually had carburetors, but it's more of the final, it's like the last hurrah before the big race. So what you got is final practice. You have the pit stop, competition. And in this case, for the first time, the Oscar Mayer Weenie 500. Yep, that actually happened. And they actually broadcast it, and they had play-by-play on it. And boy, if you're into corny puns, that's something for you, let me tell you. I personally can't deal with it. Whatever. But I'm sure the people who were there, because there's a lot of people out there today, you're usually like usual. I can probably say you had a great time, because I guarantee you half of them, if not all of them, were at least borderline, at least half schnockered. That's kind of what Carb Day is. So all that happens, and then of course a concert, which is probably about to wrap up. I believe Brett Michaels is on stage right now. So I'm, based off what time I've got, probably wrapping up about next 15, 20 minutes or so. But it's a fun day, as I mentioned. And tomorrow is the driver's parade, and obviously the Sunday is the 109th running of the Indianapolis 500. So before we dive into some of that, I'll give you who I think who I want to win and who I think will win. It's all crapshoot, but it's all good. But I wanted to discuss the Penske drama that took place this week. For those of you who haven't heard, they were caught essentially cheating again. Some would argue it's not cheating. I get it, whatever, blah blah blah. But comes out for Fast 12, and they see it was Chip Ganassi who says, "Wait a minute, that part can't be on there." and then they try to remove it, and which you can't do when you're getting ready to qualify. So violation there. Then come to find out, oh, wait a minute, it's a piece on the car that basically helps with airflow, and which helps your overall aerodynamics package, blah, 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 blah. It's illegal. You come to find out that the Newgarden's replica car from the win last year also had the part on it. Not saying that, not trying to suggest that there was cheating, can't prove it, but it leads you to think, because let's be real, this team has got caught cheating for a second straight year. You can argue the significance of it, it doesn't matter. And so as a result, they were not allowed to qualify. McLaughlin actually wrecked his car, so he was not going to be able to qualify. Anyway, so, which is probably a good thing, because otherwise he'd probably be in the back row too, because I'm sure his car had the part as well. So after some consideration, they initially said, hey, Penske will be on row 4. A little bit of an uproar about it. And they said, you know what? No, they are starting at the back of the field. Getting fined $100K, get qualifying points deducted. And Tim Cindric, who was, Roger Penske's right-hand man, if you will, has been relieved of his duties, amongst others. They will also now have a strategist for the race. So significant penalties. I think, in my opinion, it was the right call. I know some cities should have been disqualified in general. They're not going to do that. You're not going to have your 2-time reigning, defending Indy 500 champion disqualified. There's not going to do that. And Will Power being the other one, their names are too recognizable, and they're just not going to disqualify them. And I understand that. You've got this new deal with Fox. You're trying to get more eyes on the product. You don't want to take 2 of your more marketable guys out of it. I get it. But having him, you start in the back of the field, I think it's a good thing. I think it's where they should be. Like I said, Scott McLaughlin lucked out. Had he not crashed, he'd be back there too. But instead, he's a row 4. And he's been my pick for a while, for a few weeks now, to win this race. And I'm not going to count him out. It's not the best qualifying position in the world, but I think they're going to rally behind. I think I see the team rallying behind him, and you can never, ever, ever, ever count out Penske at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You just can't. So, but they did get a little bit of good fortune today. Team Penske, the pit stop competition was won by Joseph Newgarden. Of course, it was it came down to him and Will Power, of course, so teammates. So Team Penske usually seems like they win that pit stop challenge almost every time. But Newgarden was also fast today, and today they run through some traffic, whatever kind of gets idea for the setup, or for the race setup, right? He looked really good last year too, ended up winning it, right? So, I mean, I look, I don't think he will, but I'll tell you this: as much as I hate to say it, because I'm not a big fan of his. I mean, he's starting 32nd. Would it shock me for him to come up and be in the top 10, maybe even top 5? Nope. I hope not, but not at all. He's obviously had a lot of success here, but he was fast today. 225 points. He was 6. My eyes are terrible. Second fastest, Takuma Sato, who's been looking good all month here. He could be a sleeper pick. He has won twice here as well, so can't count him out. Scott Dixon, Iceman, coming in 3rd fastest. Dave Francesco coming in 4th fastest, which kind of surprised me. Rounded out by Will Power. Pillow was down on the list significantly. But Pato and Connor Daly look pretty quick too. So it's going to be a great race. Obviously, for those of you who haven't watched much of it, it's definitely one of those races that you don't want to be first on going in the last lap, just because of the way it works at the track, man. They kind of get that draft and pull up and pass you. So it makes it fun for the fans, no doubt about it. What's interesting is this new hybrid setup, because typically they didn't run the hybrid setup here at Indy last year. This year, what they do is typically run those. They've been running those mostly. They were entirely this year on road and street. And where they recharge is typically during the braking zones. Well, guess what? You're on an oval. There are no braking zones. You're just pure speed. So you do that on your pits. So I'll be interested to see how that strategy comes to play for all these teams on Sunday. A new wrinkle, if you will. So that'll be very, very, very entertaining. But as far as the race goes, obviously it's 500 miles. It's a grueling fun fact for those of you who don't know, they start 3 wide, the only race in the world to do that. It's pretty awesome to see them doing the parade laps, with three, lined up like that. It's just really cool. As far as I see it, it's just going to be great. It's going to be a great race. I think there's so many people that can win it, which makes for which is why we do what makes it fun, right? So, with that said, I know I said I need to give some picks here, so I'm going to do that. But we're going to wrap our show a little early today. Not a whole else. I can't talk. Not a whole lot else going on in Indy right now. This is all dominated right now by, again, Pacers, Fever, IndyCar. This is the weekend. It's the weekend I've been talking about for months now on this show. This is the best weekend in Indianapolis and in the state of Indiana, and this is the place to be right now if you're a sports fan. So, with that said, we're gonna call it a show. But before, I gotta give you my picks. So let me give you the picks real quick. My once, Connor Daly, who's a local kid out of Noblesville, Indiana. Would love to see him do it. Love to see Tato O'Ward do it. Guy's been so close so many years. Would love to see him do it. I know a lot of people might say Pelot, but he hasn't won on an oval, so I'm not going to go Pelot, but I'll stick to my original pick. I just have a feeling I can't bet against Lipinski. So I've been McLaughlin for a bit. Some tells me they figure something out, and he ends up being the guy. But we will see. It should be a great race. Green flag hits, I believe, around 12:30-ish. That may alter a bit on Sunday. So, but with that said, thanks for hanging out with me today, Big Mike. Signing off. Indy Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports. Have a great weekend, everybody.